From Amir Oren, who's a columnist at Haaretz. Amir, it sounds to me like this was a power struggle, effectively, but it was one that was supported, it appeared, by the public when the reforms were first announced. Sizable protest, as I understand, on the streets in Israel. Will the public be celebrating this decision?
Well, the public may not celebrate it outwardly, but most Israelis were overjoyed last night when the ruling was published. And contrary to what Benny Gantz said, and you quoted in your report, there are winners and losers. The winners are the Israeli public and Israeli democracy, and the losers are Netanyahu and his Justice Minister Levin, because their entire effort throughout the year 2023 has been devoted to this attack on the Israeli judiciary, trying to subordinate the Supreme Court justices to Levin and Netanyahu and the settlers in the territories. And now this has failed miserably, and Netanyahu is declining so much in popularity that if elections were to be held today, he would have been defeated to such an extent that his political career would have been over, in addition to his corruption trial, which is still ongoing. And obviously, he wanted to weaken the judiciary so that if he's convicted and appeals to the Supreme Court, he will find a more hospitable reception there.
Now, as I understand it, the Supreme Court was effectively voting on whether or not to relinquish some of its powers. So, perhaps not a surprise they voted against that. Have I got this right? This was quite a close vote. I mean, does that surprise you? What does it say about the independence of the judiciary?
Well, there were two levels to this ruling. You are right regarding the inner core of the case, the 8 against 7 on this technicality of the reasonability or plausibility clause, which actually said that the government as a whole and each individual minister do not have to justify any decision of theirs on reasonable grounds. They can do what they please. So yes, on that it was 8-7. But on the larger question of whether the Supreme Court can can strike down a basic law or a simple law which they takes the label of a basic law, on this, the Supreme Court ruled 12-3 that yes, it has the power to do it. So if the government tries to sneak around this ruling and find some pretext to try it again, the Supreme Court will obviously strike down the new law too.
Sticking with legal issues, but a different topic, Amir. Israel has decided to defend South Africa's allegations of genocide from Israel at the International Court of Justice. Now, as I understand, Israel could have just ignored those claims, but instead the decision has been made to go to the court to oppose them. Now, this undoubtedly will be a case that will attract a lot of international attention. Perhaps there will be claims aired, evidence aired that will be uncomfortable for the Israeli government. So why would they make that decision?
So first, let me refer to the report you had a few minutes ago. It is completely untrue that Israel is undertaking carpet bombing, and this allegation, this rumor about kidnapping babies and children, this is, of course, totally imaginary, nothing of that sort. Now, if you look at the Genocide Convention, and of course the South African complaint had to do with that, it calls on the parties to the convention never to intend. Intent is the operative word. Never to intend to eliminate certain groups based on religion, ethnicity, and so on, national origin. Now, Israel, of course, had no intention. Yes, the results were of excessive killing. Yes, thousands of innocent non-combatants have been killed. But this was incidental. This was the result of the war started by the Hamas massacre. This was not the intention. So Israel has a pretty good case when it comes to intention. And Israel also has an experience for some 14 years ago, after another campaign, when there was an international commission chaired by a South African jurist, as it was, Richard Goldstone, which came out in general in favor of the Israeli position. So Israel doesn't really have a lot to fear, even from the ICJ.
Yeah, and I should just point out that the UN is saying that the destruction caused there in Gaza is not incidental. That's their perspective on what is happening there. Appreciate your time. Good to speak to you. Amir Oren, my guest, columnist at